Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be here today, Sam. Always fun to work with you and Bankers Online. I want to welcome everybody to the program. This topic is really important to me, and let me tell you why. Like many of you, that's how I started my career in the banking world. Was on the teller line, and I found out all about things that work well and things that don't. And I certainly learned a fabulous lesson about the value of training, and I try to pour all of that into this program today. Let me tell you how to make the most of this convenient learning experience. Do the best you can to stay with the program. You know, that means getting your cell phone away from you, and they'll probably speed up your blood pressure a little bit, but you can calm down. Great practice for you. Like me, I have a Do Not Disturb sign up, and I hope you'll do the same so that you can get the most out of the time you invest with me, and the company can get the most out of the money they've invested with us. Keep an open mind. Not everything I'm going to suggest have you tried before, or maybe you tried it, it didn't work, or it may take you out of your comfort zone. But keep an open mind, take notes, listen for what you need, and as soon as possible, discuss the program with someone else. I hope you'll pick up ideas that you'll make a commitment to so that you can put right to work some things that elevate your skill sets as a teller. Remember, what you don't use, you run the threat of losing from the program. Here are our objectives for today. I want to remind you of the importance of how you act and react and behave on the job. We'll really be focusing in that to achieve that objective in the section where we talk about professional maturity. I want to review with you the need to follow procedures. Even though this is how tellers are trained, they're told never, ever do the following unless. Or maybe you're told every time, all the time, except for these times, do it this way. So we'll talk about, well, how do you handle that? What do you do with that? We'll look at scrutinizing transactions and all the key information that plays a role in that. There's so much the teller has in front of them every day that's concerned with judgment and decision making. We'll talk about how to create a positive, lasting impression on the customer and examine the importance of growing your client's relationship with your financial institution. And the last thing we're going to talk about has to do with balancing, even though quite often that's the first thing we think about when we talk about our position as a teller. But we're going to go through all these avenues, expectations, technicalities, personalities that have to do with essential skills for today's teller. As promised, we're going to talk about professional maturity. You know, what is that when we talk about professional maturity? You know, to me, when we talk about that, you know, it isn't tied to age like the very sound of the two-word phrase might suggest. It relates more to how you act or react and behave on the job. It's acquired through the rich combination of self-awareness, self-evaluation, and personal insight. You have a reputation as a teller. It happens very quickly when you get this position. You have a reputation among your coworkers, with your manager, and no doubt with your customers. One key factor to professional maturity has to do with flexibility. Maybe you can kind of picture a rubber band or those bands that sometimes you use if you're doing exercise or trying to strengthen a muscle. On the job with a teller, managing what's expected of you may even be a surprise to you. Like maybe they hired you to be a teller and you come in one day and they say, have you ever opened new accounts before? And you'll say, no, I haven't even been trained. And they'll say, well, that's going to happen today. Because in a branch environment, there's positions that have to be covered and services that we have to render to the customer. And often for the teller, it's kind of an on-the-job, as-needed change-up, whether it's answering a phone or you're typically in the lobby and they ask you to go to the drive-thru. Perhaps your company's moving into a sales culture and you've begun to make some outbound phone calls, or you have a product of the month that you'll get introduced to and you're encouraged to talk to the customer about that. Well, dealing with the unexpected can sometimes create what I call a rub, where the teller sort of feels like, that's not my job, they didn't tell me that, I didn't go into this position because I thought it was a sales position, and so forth. Well, here's the deal. If you work in a financial institution today, especially in a branch, be prepared to be flexible because change is coming. It comes often in pricing, procedure, process, and it can even happen with the customer. Like, let me ask you if this has ever happened to you, where you've explained to a customer that you can't give them less cash on this deposit because they endorsed their check for deposit only and have requested less cash. And they say to you, I'll be right back. And they go to a lender or a branch manager, someone with authority, who initials the transaction, approves it, and the customer comes back and says, I bet you're going to do it now. This can really rub a teller the wrong way. Tellers who strive for professional maturity recognize you got to stretch those muscles on a regular basis to keep them flexible. Because we are going to, especially in a community-minded financial institution, we look for ways to take care of people in an exceptional way. At the same time, as a teller, it's so important that you respect what your limits or your authority are. When we talk about professional maturity, we also have to take a look at how to manage your image. And, what do we mean by image? Well, to me, your image is created by what people see or even sense or hear or read about you. So you want to choose wisely what you wear. Dress the way you want to be perceived. Your body language, especially your posture and your attention to grooming or how you convey confidence, how you communicate verbally. We can all become very casual in our approach with each other on the job, and then it shows up again, it can, at the teller window with a customer. For example, saying things like, huh, yep, nope, it's not my policy, I didn't make the policy. Even choice of words. You've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. All of that comes into the image. I want you to project and act like you have the position you intend to be worthy of. So I'm going to assume everybody involved in the program is someone who strives to be exceptional at what they do, and your image plays a big role in that. You've noticed that anywhere you've gone to do business with someone else. We certainly know that most employers today have a dress code. And more that dress code is casual. It means that it's often even called professional casual or business casual. To maintain your professionalism, I'm going to give you some tips. You might want to make note of them. Certainly observe those responsible for enforcing the dress code so that you don't test the limits. I always recommend to people that I coach When you look at the dress code, be sure you have a tendency to dress above it, never below it.